So I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise. I caught it. I heard about this drug. I said, let me take it. It was my suggestion. I said, let me take it. And it was incredible the way it worked. Incredible. And I think if I didn't catch it, we'd be looking at that like a number of other drugs. But it really did a fantastic job. I want to get for you what I got, and I'm going to make it free. You're not going to pay for it. It wasn't your fault that this happened. It was China's fault. And China's going to pay a big price, what they've done to this country. China's going to pay a big price, what they've done to the world. This was China's fault. And just remember that.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we're going to take a look at the latest new Q posts, and they are bombshells as usual, as we have to look at what happens if Biden wins, and how will we be compromised even further by China. We already know what happened with the China virus. We already know the fake news lies about us. We already know that President Trump is under attack on all ends by these enemies of our republic, and we're going to look at what that means. So you guys are going to want to stick around and hear that and a whole lot more. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. I'm your host, Craig. As usual, I always remind you guys, come here, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it yet, and also hit that like button and stick around, because at the end we do our segment, God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And today, we're going to say a prayer for spiritual growth for all of us out there. So please stick around for that inspiration at the end. We're going to talk about Scripture, and it's definitely something to check out. Now, we're going to pick up right where we left off here on the cue board. We left off at 48:11, and we're picking up at 48:12. And obviously, we have a lot to cover here because it's been a couple days. I've been traveling. I'm down here in Miami at the American Priority Festival, which is an incredible event so far. I've already been talking to a bunch of great people down here, and no matter what detractors may say, you know, there's a lot of patriots here who are coming together, and everyone I talk to is pro-Q. Everyone I talk to wants to get to the truth of everything that's happening here, and I'm going to have some great interviews coming your ways for the channel that I really hope you guys stick around to see. But before we get into all of that, a quick reminder, and we get into the latest Q post, that this video is brought to you in part by Brave. Go download it, try it out. It's an internet browser. It's better than any other browser that you could use. It blocks the ads. It's got built-in features that are incredible. It stops online surveillance. It loads your content faster, and it uses less battery. What more do you need to know? Go try out the Brave browser today. Use the link in the description below so they know I sent you, and they'll make a contribution to this channel, so it's a win-win. Now, here we are. We're picking up right where we left off. Of course, every fake news publication and globalist faction of corruption has gone after President Trump, and that's how you know he's doing his job correctly, because he's not playing their game anymore. He's not selling our country out to the highest bidder. He's not involved in the secret societies and the backroom deals in Washington, D.C. that leave the American people out to hang us out to dry and enrich themselves in the process, like Nancy, Barack Obama, and the rest. These people sold us out to the highest bidder to enrich themselves, and it just seems that, and the Clintons, and you name it, right? But President Trump didn't need to do that. He took this position to try to save this country and make it great again, because what it had become was a hollow vessel of what it once was, which was the American Republic that won a revolution to gain our independence. We fought a civil war to free the slaves. We fought a world war to help save an entire continent. So we have to restore our country back to the greatness that it once was. And with people like the Clintons and the Bushes and the Obamas, and you go down the line, people who enriched themselves, people who sold us out, people who did not care about you and me, who only cared about their backroom secret society deals that they made for them and their friends, those are the people that President Trump's standing up to, and those are the people that want him out of office. So remember, this election is the most important one of our lives, and that's why you guys need to go vote, and you need to go out and get your friends, family, and anyone you see out in the street to vote. Go out there, wave Trump signs, go knock on doors, do what you have to make this election important, so that make it go for President Trump, because they're going to do everything they can to steal it. They're already in the process of making that happen. This mail-in voting through this whole C-19, you know what's happening, guys. We've gone over this before, but think about it. He gave up everything. This is Q. He knew his life and the lives of his family would forever change. He knows the consequences. A man who had everything, why do it? Q. Yeah, that's a great question. Think about that. Do you really think that President Trump would allow Biden to take over, knowing what we know now? You don't think that if they got back in power, they would go after his family? You don't think that there would be a severe repercussion, if not many, for the President of the United States after he exposed them? I mean, that's why I have supreme faith that what we're doing is right, because we've exposed the criminals who've been running our government. And that's why they're doing things like Nancy Pelosi came out and said today, oh, we're going to go after him on the 25th Amendment to test his mental abilities. And that's why you have the fake news obsessing over a fly on Mike Pence's head, as opposed to the issues that were debated last night between Kamala Harris and Vice President Pence. And that's why you have the fake news media writing lie after lie after lie about the President of the United States. Why did he do it? He did it because he's trying to save this country, and we need to give him our support and help him, because that's how we do it. We do it together. And they're trying to divide us so we don't. So remember that when you think about certain things. But the next one here says, how close do we come to losing it? What if she got in? What if she got 3+ Supreme Court justices? What if she got 300+ judges? What if rogue elements were made plus more added within FBI, CIA, NSA, state, and DNI, White House, IRS, DHS, ICE, WHO, the World Health Organization, CDC, etc.? What if our military remained financially starved? What if foreign backers continue to control American policies? What if our borders remained open? What if China was given the keys? What if, this is not about Republican versus Democrat, cute. Now, of course it isn't. All of those scenarios where you see that, that would be the end of our country. That would be the end of the Republic as we know it. They would have packed the Supreme Court with a bunch of basically compromised liberals who would destroy the Second Amendment. They would basically tear up the First Amendment. They would go after their political enemies using the FBI like they did against President Trump. They would weaponize the DOJ and the IRS against their political opponents. They would use the CDC and the WHO to control us globally, to sell us out to the globalists. I mean, it goes on and on and on, right? This was the plan to destroy America. The 16-year plan to destroy America that Q references earlier in his posts. That's what we're up against right now. And the idea that we would allow this country to go back to traitors who betrayed us, sold us out to China, bribed and corrupted our entire government, compromised through blackmail half of our Congress, and then went and made deals with China and Ukraine in back rooms where they enriched themselves to the tune of millions, if not billions of dollars. Yeah, it's not going to happen, guys. And the military, I believe, I mean, this is just my speculation, but I highly doubt that they would allow that to happen either. And I think that's why they push the open insurrection in the streets with their paramilitary thugs from Antifa, because they're trying to show that they have some sort of, military presence that they can use against us in our country. They basically are saying, if you expose us or you try to take away power from us, we'll destroy the whole thing. Well, guess what? They're not getting back in power, in my humble opinion. And I think they would be very wise to back down before it really gets, or it could get possibly even uglier than it is now. I guarantee you that. But the next post here, why are we being censored? Why are we being attacked daily? Why are we being condemned by Congress? 1984 thought crime. What happens when people are no longer allowed to think freely? What happens when people are no longer allowed to challenge their authority? What happens when people are no longer fight back? Q. And that's it right now. This is the next American Revolution against a corrupt class of kleptocrats who have enriched themselves at our country's expense, at our expense, and they thought they could get away with it because remember what Q said. They never thought she would lose. They looked at President Trump as a joke. They didn't realize the threat that he posed to their global crime mafia. And now that President Trump's in power, you can see they've pulled every stop, everything they've built over the last 30 years, all the institutional corruption that they put in place, all the compromising of the fake news and the alliances with big tech censorship or the big tech tyrants to censor us. They're activating it now. I mean, I just had my biggest video. I had a video on my channel that had over 1 million views, and this is just a side note, get taken down by YouTube, right? Get this, for harassment and cyberbullying. Oh, really? You know what it was? It was a video of Dan Bongino talking about the whole everything that's been verified by the Russian collusion hoax. All the stuff that's been verified. He doesn't even like say anything. He's just saying it's all verified, and it just baffles me. I had to appeal this today, so that's just an aside to this, but that's why they're attacking us. They're trying to censor us. They're trying to shut us down because we're committing the thought crime of knowing that they are corrupt and that they are evil and that they want to destroy America. Because what benefit is a strong America to global corporations who want to basically rule the world? We're just an impediment to them. So they need to undermine us from within so that then they can increase their power globally. It's all about power. And it even has less to do with money than it does with power. But yeah, so that's what that is. And if we don't fight back against the corruption, the tyrants, the censorship, then they're going to keep taking more and more and more. And that's the point. And that's why I think they hit my video the other day. And this is just a small microcosm example, but that's why they do it. They do it because they take a little bit at a time. They try to control your speech by doing things that they know are psychologically meant to manipulate how you react. We talked about this in the last video about the Tavistock Institute out of London that's been engaged in psychological warfare on our country for who knows how long, right? They know how to manipulate the masses, and they know how to do things in a way that are subtle but have a desired outcome, and they know how to do it, beyond anything you could imagine or I could imagine. But we're actually getting wise to it, and that's why they're terrified, and that's why they're panicking. But here in the next post, Donald Trump tweeting, "I have fully authorized the total declassification of any and all documents pertaining to the single greatest political crime in American history, the Russia hoax. Likewise, the Hillary Clinton email scandal, no redactions." That's pretty big, guys. Q says Red October. Well, that's a Red October surprise that I think we can all get behind. Because imagine this. Here you have President Trump coming out and saying he's going to put everything out, totally declassified, no redactions. And what is the deep state going to say? What is the Comey FBI going to say? The Strzok pages, all the rest, the corrupt Hussein administration, the corrupt Clinton cartel. What do you think they're going to say? Oh, we can't see the truth because national security. It's not national security. And it's not just them being embarrassed, as Senator Ron Johnson said previously. It's them knowing that exposes their treason, that exposes their sedition, that exposes their crimes against this nation and their intent to basically overturn an election with a hoax that they've been using for the last 3 years against the President of the United States, over 3 years, to effectively run a coup against him. And when that didn't work, they went to the Ukraine hoax. And when that didn't work, they went to the obviously what you saw, the last case, the worst case scenario plan, which was C-19. And you see the effect that has on our country because they're working with the Chinese communists, by the way. Because they want to command control communist dictatorship in this country just like they have in China. So there you have it. But then it says, think drop today regarding Senator Johnson redactions and GSA versus FBI. Let's see what happens. Think POTUS today, no redactions. Do you see what happened? Q. So yeah, of course, President Trump's telling us what's happening. He's saying, look, he's basically verifying the Anons too in Q again, because this was a clip that was tweeted out by QAnon of Senator Ron Johnson showing the difference between the FBI's release of documents and the GSA, in that the FBI was just redacting an entire, basically everything in the document, and the GSA wasn't. So President Trump basically came out and said, look, we're not going to be releasing, these redacted documents. We're going to show the hard proof that these people are corrupt criminals and that they ran a coup against President Trump. But think back to January 15th of this year, 2020. What happened? USA-China Phase 1 deal executed. China had a bad day. 2, impeachment articles released by Pelosi, walked and delivered to the Senate. Attack versus POTUS, coordinated, planned for a specific day, first case. And then, of course, and going into that, first case of C-19 lands at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. Attack versus POTUS. Mathematical probability that same day versus natural, or natural versus controlled. Who benefits the most? Evil surrounds us. Q. I mean, I'll leave that for you guys to put together, but it seems very odd that on the same day that they marched those impeachment articles to the Senate, that we had this major outbreak happen in our country, which just so happened to coincide with the same first phase of the China deal. Yeah, these people are evil. They're demons from hell. And I don't mind saying that, because you'd have to be that demonically evil to do the things that they've done to this country. And it's sad. It's truly sad. So the next post here is threats, bribes, and blackmail being deployed at unseen levels. Dirty laundry, blackmail controls DC. Why are they protected? Threats, bribes, blackmail, or sharing of like beliefs, dark secrets? Let's see what happens. Q. Whew. Yeah, you know what that means? That means that our Congress was compromised. Our judiciary was compromised. President Trump came in, and the reason why, I had to explain this to somebody, a close family member who I was saying, like, they're like, yeah, I'm not sure about QAnon. I said, well, look, imagine this. You're the president of the United States, and you come in on day one, you realize that 70%, let's say, of the Congress is compromised, the judiciary is compromised, most of the agencies, interdepartmental agencies are compromised, and what are you going to do? Arrest everyone? You don't think that would collapse this entire country and make us weak to our enemies and make us vulnerable to attack from the outside? What you do is what President Trump has done. He's played 4D chess. He's spent the last 3+ years basically pushing the corrupt members of Congress out, pushing the corrupt members of the interdepartmental agencies out, pushing the corrupt members of the judiciary out, and doing it in a way that preserves the integrity of our republic, because their ultimate goal was to have so many corrupt people in so many places that it would be impossible for them to be arrested for their crimes against this republic. And that's the whole QAnon. That's we're not here to talk about anything other than saving this republic from the most corrupt and insanely large conspiracy against us, we the American people, that has ever been pulled off in American history, as far as I know. And so that's what this has to do with: all threats, bribes, blackmail, shared like beliefs. Yeah, that's the way I read it. How many people in DC does Clinton have dirt on? How many people in DC does Clinton have had on payroll? Dark secrets, Q. So think about this. The Clinton cartel, the Clinton crime family, these people, again, this is why Hillary's not in jail. That's why she thinks she's untouchable. That's why she gets on her Twitter account and tweets all these cackling tweets at President Trump as if she never can be touched. Because she knows that as depraved and criminally corrupt and treasonous as the thing she has done, in my opinion, the emails, etc., and going even into some other stuff, that for as bad as that is, she may or may not have dirt on half of Washington. And how did she get that? Well, when your husband's the president of the United States and you're able to weaponize certain intelligence services, it seems like that would be an easy thing to do if it were to be done that way, if this all happened. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, because it's all alleged. We don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe everything I'm saying is not true. It's all very possible. I could be completely wrong, just a crazy conspiracy theorist like the fake news likes to say. But I'd like to think that the evidence that I've seen to this point points to the largest scale corruption in the history of this nation, right? Q says the Clinton Foundation White House for sale. Q. Yeah. For sale to the highest bidder. That's how they enriched themselves, it seems. I mean, if you look at the deals in the Clinton Foundation and you look at how the money dried up right after the election was lost, well, you'd have to ask yourself, were people only giving money to the Clinton Foundation to gain influence in our government? Or did people just stop being philanthropic, on the exact day that Hillary Clinton stopped being a candidate for the presidency? I don't know. What happens if Biden became POTUS, knowing he threw Hunter +2? I think what the +2 is referring to is his two partners at Rosemont Seneca Partners, which were Devin Archer and Christopher Hines. And little do most people know that Christopher Hines is the stepson of John Kerry. So it wasn't just Joe Biden having his family, get these $1 million contracts to get influence. It was also John Kerry through his stepson, seemingly Christopher Hines, and Devin Archer. But that's all, again, speculation, so we'll just see what happens. It says, took massive amounts of bribes to look the other way, U.S. policy toward China in favor of China. Would China own and control the White House? Well, these are good questions. I'm not sure if any of it's true, but it seems likely. So, yeah. Then Q here repeats that same post, saying through Hunter +1, which is talking about Ukraine. So, I don't know. And the connection here +2, if you think about it, that's Bohai Harvest. I think Ukraine was done with Rosemont Seneca. So that might be just the Christopher Hines or Devin Archer connection, or someone else. Not sure. But it's the same thing, guys. Ukraine. What happens if Biden became POTUS knowing he, through Hunter Plus One, took massive amounts of bribes to change, look the other way, U.S. policy toward Ukraine in favor of Ukraine? Would Ukraine own and control the White House? It's like we have video evidence of Joe Biden bragging about how he did a quid pro quo deal where he basically, withheld funding from American taxpayers to Ukraine so that he could get the prosecutor who was investigating his son's corrupt company fired. But yeah, nothing to see here. Don't believe your lying ears and eyes. Only the illusion of democracy, only the illusion of for the people. For the first time in a long time, our POTUS stands with and for the people, all assets deployed Q. That's what they're afraid of. Because President Trump does fight for the average individual. President Trump does want us to be made great again. President Trump does want a single-tier justice system that's not corrupted by individuals who would gladly sell you and me down the river for the slightest bit of gain to their own financial assets, or to be able to keep themselves out of prison or out of trouble. But, that's where our country's been at. So that's great. Here's a funny one. This is from Q to Mr. Ryan, which I'm assuming is Mr. Paul Ryan of Fox News, former Speaker of the House, who was a rhino to the biggest extent I've ever seen a rhino, which is a Republican in name only, if you're wondering what that means. And he was, I would say, most likely, maybe, possibly, corrupt as the day is long, right? And this is President Trump's tweet here, this one's the tweet here where he has this video, and we'll watch this video real quick.
Hi, perhaps you recognize me. It's your favorite president, and I'm standing in front of the Oval Office at the White House, which is always an exciting place to be. I got back a day ago from Walter Reed Medical Center. I spent 4 days there and didn't have to. I could have stayed at the White House, but the doctor said, because you're president, let's do it. I said, fine. You tell me what to do, and I'm going to listen. These are great professionals. They've done a fantastic job. And by the way, not only at Walter Reed, all over the country, we have the greatest doctors in the world. We have the greatest nurses, the greatest first responders, law enforcement, by the way, incredible. Firefighters, everybody. They're just great. We have great people. This is a great country. But I spent 4 days there, and I went in, I wasn't feeling so hot, and within a very short period of time, they gave me Regeneron. It's called Regeneron, and other things too, but I think this was the key. But they gave me Regeneron, and it was like unbelievable. I felt good immediately. I felt as good 3 days ago as I do now. So I just want to say, we have Regeneron, we have a very similar drug from Eli Lilly, and they're coming out, and we're trying to get them on an emergency basis. We've authorized it. I've authorized it. And if you're in the hospital and you're feeling really bad, I think we're going to work it so that you get them, and you're going to get them free. And especially if you're a senior, we're going to get you in there quick. We have hundreds of thousands of doses that are just about ready. I have emergency use authorization all set, and we got to get it signed now. And you're going to get better. You're going to get better really fast. This is things that nobody even thought of a few months ago. The job that the scientists, the labs, everybody have done is incredible. Then in addition to that, you have various other drugs that help a lot, but I view these, I know they call them therapeutic, but to me it wasn't therapeutic, it just made me better, okay? I call that a cure. So I want to get these things done. So we have to get them done, we have to get them approved, and I want to get them to the hospitals where people are feeling badly. It's much more important to me than the vaccine. But on the vaccines, we have many companies that are in final stages for the vaccines, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, all great companies, but many of them. And we're going to have a great vaccine very, very shortly. I think we should have it before the election, but frankly, the politics gets involved, and that's okay. They want to play their games. It's going to be right after the election. But we did it, nobody else. Nobody else would have been able to do it. The FDA has acted as quickly as they've ever acted in history. There's never been a time, and no president's ever pushed them like I pushed them either, to be honest with you. But the FDA is approving things in a matter of weeks that used to take a matter of years. So we have these drugs, Eli Lilly and the others that are so good, but they are, in my opinion, remember this, they're going to say that they're therapeutic, and I guess they are therapeutic. Some people don't know how to define therapeutic. I view it different. It's a cure. For me, I walked in, I didn't feel good. A short 24 hours later, I was feeling great. I wanted to get out of the hospital. And that's what I want for everybody. I want everybody to be given the same treatment as your president, because I feel great. I feel like perfect. So I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise. I caught it. I heard about this drug. I said, let me take it. It was my suggestion. I said, let me take it. And it was incredible the way it worked. Incredible. And I think if I didn't catch it, we'd be looking at that like a number of other drugs. But it really did a fantastic job. I want to get for you what I got, and I'm going to make it free. You're not going to pay for it. It wasn't your fault that this happened. It was China's fault. And China's going to pay a big price, what they've done to this country. China's going to pay a big price, what they've done to the world. This was China's fault. And just remember that. So we're going to get you the drug. It's going to be free. We're going to get it into the hospitals as soon as you can, as soon as we can. And you'll see some amazing things happen because we have our military is doing the distribution. It's called logistics. And they deliver hundreds of thousands of troops in a matter of days. This is easy stuff for them. Our general's all ready. We're waiting for the emergency use authorization. And the drug companies have just made a lot of it. So hopefully this is going to be not just a therapeutic, it's going to be much more than a therapeutic. You're going to get better, you're going to get better fast, just like I did. So again, a blessing in disguise. Good luck.
So there you saw, President Trump was saying he's got the Regeneron, it's basically a cure, he's going to use the military, he blames China, he's going to make it free. What more do you need to know? That's him talking directly to the fake news liars who have tried to blow this thing out of proportion every day of since it happened and tried to scare the American people in order to help get Biden elected so that the criminal cartel, the mafiosos, could get back in power and continue to destroy this country from within. But President Trump's not going to allow it to happen. Now we look at the politicalization of everything in our society today, and here we go. Remember this little doozy from Governor Cuomo, where he puts his order in effect that continues the furthering of the C-19 laws in New York until what day? Oh, of course, November 3rd, 2020. So just until Election Day, because as soon as Election Day is over, there's going to be no need for these laws because COVID will just magically disappear, just as magically as it came into existence, apparently. Yeah, these people are criminals, they're crooks, they're liars, they are just detestable people. But of course, Q points to that part where it talks about November 3rd, and it says, was it ever about a virus? I don't know. You tell me. Think about this. Joe, 30330. Arbitrary, it says, what is 2020 current year divided by 30330? Symbolism will be their downfall, and I, of course, did it, and it's 0.0666. The mark of the beast. These people, as I said before, are demonic in nature. They worship Satan, and they hate Christians with a complete disdain that you could never imagine. Because you know why? We stand for what's good. We stand for what's just. We stand for what's right. And our whole Constitution is based primarily on the Ten Commandments out of the Bible. It's based on the Christian values that have been in existence for thousands of years. So I'm just thinking to myself here, they want to destroy the Christian values because they're just not good people. Let's just say it that way. I'm going to be polite. YouTube here gives us this video. Again, I'm not going to play the song, but it says 2 Steps from Hell, and it's one of those kind of like songs about that Q puts on here sometimes. And Q says something interesting, and it's kind of like a soundtrack, studio soundtrack or something. But it says, can music be healing, Q? And I believe that 100% because they've used tonal frequencies. They've developed these psychological weapons they use on us all the time to demoralize us, to dehumanize us, to make us feel hopeless, to make us feel anxiety. And they've unleashed that on the world, right? And a lot of times it's what we put in our body, whether it's, food or even what we see culturally, what we watch, the things we watch, the things we listen to, they can have a huge effect on our lives. So I think that's what Q's hinting at. Here we go. Q says, do you remember when the media had wall-to-wall live in fear coverage of North Korea, right? We were about to go to war with North Korea. Where'd that go? Do you remember when Hawaii accidentally sounded the incoming missile alarm? What happened? I mean, North Korea no longer a nuclear threat? Mountain collapse? I think President Trump may have had some secret operations go in there and shut it down, right? Because you got to shut that down as soon as it happens. But then it says China seeking nuclear commitment to fire short, long-range ballistic missiles pre-election? Q. So is China actually asking North Korea to start launching these tests for long-range missiles in order to affect our election? Or affect the 2016 election previously? I don't know. Remember this doozy out of the Skunk Bay when we had a weather cam pick this missile streak up? Obviously, look what looks like a missile that's launched out of the water, saying, do you remember when they told you that that was a helicopter? What is it, the new class of helicopter that's got a rocket on the bottom of it that shoots it up in the sky? I don't know. Maybe. So how much was McCain Institute paid to peddle Steele dossier? Oh, wow. I wonder how much. What is the going rate for a United States senator to knowingly push false, unverified intel to the FBI, lend credibility? Q. Well, every dog has its day, and McCain is no more, so I wonder how much it cost. Why did Paul Ryan refuse to block all subpoena requests by Republican committee chairs? What is the going rate for the Speaker of the House to obstruct congressional investigations for the purposes of delaying and or eliminating its findings? Protect? Why did Paul Ryan initially refuse to be Speaker? What was coming? Why did Paul Ryan retire at such a young age? Q. See, these are all great questions, but I think the answer is basically Paul Ryan is one of them. Paul Ryan was basically waiting for his next comeuppance, and he was going to be given some big position in government. Who knows what it was going to be? He didn't want to be the Speaker of the House, so yeah, they never thought she would lose. Let's put it that way, right? Because you got the Rhino, so you can say, oh, look, I'm bipartisan because I'm working with Ryan. And it says here, he even said before, back in 2015, nope, I'm not going to be the Speaker of the House again. He knew what was coming. They all knew what was coming. But they didn't know enough. And then it finally says here, shadow president, shadow government, information warfare, regular warfare, color revolution, insurgency, Q. Those are all the things that President Trump's fighting right now for you and me. And I just, want to thank him personally, if I could ever. But I can do it just by saying thank you here on the show. And I hope that one day, or he might be listening. Who knows? Anything's possible, I guess. But with that being said, that's pretty much where we're going to leave it. A few more things before we go. Watch these videos. Share them on your social media. Get the word out that way. And leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to think. Also, you can find me over here on Twitter or Twitter at JustInformYou and on Twitter at informed_news. Plus, if you want to make a contribution and keep this channel running, you can come find me over here on Patreon, patreon.com/justinformedtalk. Links to everything we talked about today will be in the description below this video. Now, before we go, we do our segment, God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it's truly greater. And today, I'm going to end with a simple prayer. Out of the book of Colossians, we're going to read this verse from chapter 1, verse 9 through 14. And it reads, "For this reason also, since the day we heard this, we haven't stopped praying for you. We are asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of His will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding, so that you may walk worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to Him, bearing fruit in every good work, and growing in the knowledge of God. May you be strengthened with all power according to His glorious might, for all endurance and patience with joy, giving thanks to the Father who has enabled you to share in the saints' inheritance in the light. He has rescued us from the domain of darkness and transferred us into the kingdom of the Son He loves, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins." Amen. And that's my message to all of you. Share that with others. Remember that God has delivered us from darkness. And He's delivered us from darkness and transferred us into a kingdom. But it's a kingdom of the Son, His Son, Jesus Christ, whom He loves, and in whom we have redemption through the forgiveness of sins. So remember that. That's the message of the gospel. That's what you should share with your family, friends, and loved ones, and get it out there. And that's my message to you today. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I want to say thank you guys for watching this episode. Remember to come here, hit that subscribe button, hit it, punch it, tap it, whatever, headbutt it. Hit the like button if you guys like this content, want to see me make more. That's it for me, though. Thanks for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed, and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.